What up, though? It's K-Way. I am back with the first of the introspective series. And in this series, I'll be talking about, well, mostly rambling, about things that are going on in my life and how I feel about them, as well as, like, some actual introspection, thinking about how I am, who I am, how I function in the world amongst all these crazies and in a world full of just crazy things happening. And I would like to start this series with a revelation that I've come across that I am judgmental. That's right. That's right. I'm judgmental. I think Ultron was right. I think the human race doesn't deserve free will, and AI and Elon Musk are the greatest things to happen to us. Nah. No, I'm clearly joking. Clearly joking. Except I do think that Elon Musk sky with Starlink. Starlink, I think Elon Musk's Starlink might turn out to be real life Skynet. It's a strong chance it'll probably happen. And that might, yeah, AI and robots. Hey, we're not far off. Seen the videos? Oh, wait, no, wait.
Bitch ass nigga. Hey man, nigga. Bitch ass nigga. What's that nigga?
But for real, bro, it's like pretty much I have been told that I'm judgmental by only two people in particular. In all my years of living, I'm just now hearing this from these two particular people. Who they are, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to explore why they could be potentially calling me judgmental and just, thinking about it. Like, what could make a person like me judgmental? Um, and I've concluded, to an extent, I've concluded a bit. I have thoughts and ideas as to why. And I think it's because I am very blunt and honest about people's consistent inconsistency. Yes, that's right. You heard it right. And that applies to myself too. I am aware of the times that I'm consistently inconsistent. I'm aware of cognitive dissonance. Is that what it could be? Like, I feel cognitive dissonance sometimes and I'm like, hey, what am I doing? Am I actually living up to my values? And I do the same thing with other people, especially the people I care about. And that's the interesting thing apart about it. That's the interesting part about it. I just hold people that I care about to a standard. Not even a high standard, not a higher standard, just the standard of what they say, who I know them to be, and the values that they say they have. And that sometimes rubs people the wrong way. I'm not even trying to sound sarcastic. That's just real. That's just honest. Let me think of an example. Okay, so I'm the type of guy, right? I'm the type of friend or whatever where if you go, man, I'm really out of shape. Like I'm gonna start a diet tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and I see you, you come over, you chilling with me, they chilling with me. And they take out a row of Oreos. A row of Oreos. Not one, not two, but like several, like four, five, four or more, maybe three. It's like, I'm gonna be like, hey, put them cookies down with your big ass, put them down, big Billy. Not like that, for real though. No, that's not me. That's rude. I'm gonna be like, hey, what's up? Didn't you say you was gonna diet? Oh yeah, it's just Oreos. Okay. Well, did you go to the gym today? If they say no, if they say no, I'm gonna be like, So you wasn't serious about no diet. You was not serious. You're bullshitting. You like being fat. Honestly, you like being fat. I'm convinced that that's cool. Like with you, you don't really care as much as you seem to, and you know if you don't, like that's fine. But like I just wanted to let you know, like this doesn't add up to what you've been telling me. When there are inconsistencies between what somebody is telling you, what they believe in, and so on, and they don't show that in their actions, I catch on to that. That sticks out to me. Why's my hair doing that? But that sticks out to me, like that strand of hair. It's like I notice it. I got to at this point. I've been in so many situations where people will pretend to be one way, and it's like, oh, like you my brother, bro. Like nothing could ever and blah blah blah, and then just something, anything, like the wind fucking blows, and then all of a sudden, you a op. I don't like you no more. Like that's really how it goes. So you really have to call people out. That's what I do. I call people on their bluff. And some may, oh crap, the light died? I'm gonna give another example. Let's say hypothetically, I have a kid in the future. I want the best for my kid, for my child. They decide to kill somebody or maybe even rob a bank. Rob a bank, kill somebody. Those are both pretty bad. Those are like almost the same level in my head. I hate thieves. I hate them with a passion. But let's say I have a child who does either of those things, and I didn't raise them to be that person. Clearly, of course not. They cooked. They cooked. Everything that happens to them is on them. Like I'm not. You're not hiding in my house. If you come to me to hide, I'm calling the police. I ain't gonna lie. It might be that bad. You're not using me to hide out for doing something stupid. Like especially if let's say it's not an accidental murder or just the heat of the situation. Okay, maybe there's a little bit of leeway, but you plan and a whole assassination, or you make a whole plan to rob a break into a family's house and steal all their shit. I'm not saving you, bro. Like you're cooked. You're cooked. You gotta deal with everything on your own because one, just boundaries. Like that's just I can't deal with that. Two, I believe in karma, and three, that's how I love. That's how I show love. I'm not gonna just let you do whatever and be out here looking crazy. Like no, I'm consistent at all times. I don't make any exceptions for people around me. If if I have a specific idea or thought about somebody I don't know based on something that they do, and you do the same thing, you know different, bro. Like I'm sorry. That's how my brain functions. I am not biased or just blindly loyal, you know? Like, but that's how some people are. That's not me though. I can't do that. Um it's fake. And you know, yeah, of course, there may be times where I may make an observation about something somebody's wearing or something like that. Just an observation. And it might lead to like just a slight assumption, right? Slight assumption as to maybe how that person might think or what kind of vibe they are. Because after all, how we dress is nonverbal communication. How we dress is nonverbal communication. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna take some stuff in about my surroundings or another person. First impressions are a thing, but it wouldn't be to a point where I hold them to that. Like I hold them to that standard and I treat them bad based on how they look or anything like that. I'm gonna just interact with them, and then that leaves room for me to be surprised, like pleasantly, and not super. It's not like wow, this is amazing, but it's like okay, so okay, interesting. You're an interesting individual. When I hear judgmental, I think like an extreme when it comes to that. Like oh, that she's wearing a crop top, that whore, or bro, his shoes dirty. He like, is you homeless or something? No, I've never been like that because I know what it feels like to be judged. since a kid. I know what it feels like to be judged. So it was really frustrating to be called judgmental because I hold someone to the standard that they set and pointing out their inconsistencies and things that they say or do, which I will hope people around me do too. Like if I'm out here, you know, with walking around with like a shit stain in the back of my pants, just a shit stain, just out in the open, you know, and I'm like, I really want to have like a clean persona. I really want people to look at me and be like, bro, he's clean, he's professional. And you pull me aside one day and you were like, bro, Christian, you got shit on your bro. You gotta go fix this. I'm sorry. You gotta go home. That is love. That is love. It would never happen. That's just an extreme, crazy. It's never happened. Never will happen, unless maybe I'm like 100 years old, something like that. 90. Then I should get away with just a little bit of shit. Like you're an old baby at that point. I'm not ageist. But yeah, bro, it's like I hold people to the standards that they set, and I will hope people do the same for me. Because what I do is I call people on their bullshit. On their bullshit. You will not, I sniff it out so fast in terms of like, now I do. When I was a kid, when I was young, nah, I was cooked. I was getting ran over. I was a people pleaser. I think that might be part of why I'm so critical of the people around me because I gotta really feel you out. Like, is you doing something sketchy? Like, are you being sketchy right now? Are you gonna snake me? You gonna backdoor me? That's happened to me already so many times. So maybe it's some kind of trauma response, but I like it. I prefer to be able to hold people accountable. I prefer to let you know when you're doing wrong. I prefer that I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna just say whatever you doing is cool just because I like you or whatever. Like I like people based on their actions, bro. I don't have time to be around people who fake the funk. Like that's not who I am. Cause then I end up on the receiving end of it. It's like y'all ever heard the tip to pay attention to how they treat service workers? Like people in drive-throughs and restaurants or at the movies, how they just treat everyday people that they need service from. It tells you so much. And if they treat them bad, that's your sign to run. That's facts. It's the same way when it comes to the people around me. If I see you doing something off, I'm not going to stand by and just let you do that and not question it, bro. Like, nah. We going to talk about it. Not everybody's used to that, though. And it's fine. It just becomes difficult with people that you have history with, like long history, you know? And sometimes you just realize you're just two different people, like very different people in terms of y'all values. Or maybe that the other person just could use some maturing. It gets difficult. That's something I'm dealing with, or I've been dealing with recently. Critical is I see how this could be better. Or I see what you're trying to do here. Let me let you know how to tighten it up. Yes, I'm critical. I'm an editor. I've done editing for videos. I've done editing for blogs. I've always been proofreading people's writings and stuff like that. So by nature, I'm critical. I am. And when I see an inconsistency, I call it out. I support people. I also acknowledge when someone is doing well. It's a balance, It's both sides of the coin. When someone's doing well, hey, you've been real consistent. You've been doing good with your work. I see the hustle that you putting on. You exceeding in your goals, in your classes, in your job. I'm proud of you. I do that. If I hear good things going on for people, I do that. Now, I will admit, I may be flawed in terms of checking on what people are doing or being specific, like how is work nowadays. I probably don't do that. It's more like how are you? And we go from there. But I give people credit where credit is due. I've been hit with a narrative that I don't, but I definitely do. I come to realize that it's human nature to focus on the negative. When we think of anything, when we think of music, a person, when we think of experiences, sometimes the negative parts overshadow everything else. And I think that also comes to relationships with people, where you might be focused so much on something negative that happened recently that you everything else is just non-existent. Because I'm aware that that's how things happen sometimes. When you're in the heat of the moment, you're emotional. If I feel some type of way, I might have short-term memory, but not everybody operates like that, and it can be disheartening. But it is what it is. I know myself. I'd much rather be critical and consistent than a yes man. Yes man don't get you nowhere in life. The society, our society, is pretty much ruled by or driven by yes men. Sheep. People who don't really have their own opinion about anything and they're just, oh, everything that's cool. There's nothing morally wrong with this. Um, Take those old people's social security away. That's as long as it does good. Kick out the immigrants. Okay, yeah, but it's like you got to be really aware of what you championing, and when you champion it, you got to stand for that. That's something that I've been for the past couple of years been really pushing to do, um, with myself and as well as for the people around me. I want everybody to be able to do better. Does that make me critical at times? Yes. Will I make a judgment of whether your actions add up to the sentiments you seem to express? Yes. And I will call it out. And it won't stop. It'll never stop. I'm a notorious bullshit caller. Side thought. There's also times where you're talking about like a friend or associate, somebody that you're having problems with. If you're talking to the point it sounds like they're malicious or like they're consistently against you, and I don't hear anything positive when you're talking about this person, and you make it sound like, yeah, that's my op, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to believe you. Don't do it. I'm not that kind of friend. I won't jump straight to, oh yeah, we hate this person. It just depends on what the scenario is, and if you seem to hate that person, it's like, okay, cool. I'm not cool with that person then. However, if you renege on that and you like, oh, it's not that bad, or oh, they cool, or they were cool, and then you flipped and all of a sudden you hate them, I'm going to call you out on it. There was a time where I had like two close friends, right? Two close friends. I'm friends with both of these individuals. They were both girls. Of course, they were both girls, and they got into some kind of conflict, disagreement, whatever. And one of them seemed to be really bad mouthing the other, and I didn't understand exactly why. It seemed like there. I think the cause of it was like some kind of disassociation was or something. Like maybe she laid off of her for a while, so she was really upset about it. And me being the honest person that I am and a good friend, a friend talking to a friend about another friend, because that person is speaking awfully of the person who calls them their friend or who they call their friend. I'm like, bro, are you bitter? Like, you sound a little bitter. It is what it is. And that's not me trying to attack them. It's just you sound bitter. You know? It is what it is. I'm not trying to assassinate your character. It's just there's inconsistencies going on. If it's the reverse, and all of a sudden you friends with them, all right, cool, be friends with them away from me because I'm not. No, I don't like none of the stuff that they did. I'm not gonna sit around and act like I'm cool with that person because you cool with that person, even though they did you dirty and or will continue to do you dirty. Unless you've been lying to me the whole time and they're really not that bad, which happens. People do that. People omit their side of the story so much. Life is crazy. What up, though? I'm busy. All right, bet. That was CJ. I'm making content. You want to say what up real quick? Bro, letting his hair down. Make it nice and loud because the mic is somewhere else.
What up, though, y'all? F Stop CJ.
Bro, what? It sound like a train. All right, bro.
Alright.
There's a quote that I feel applies to the topic at hand. You know, is just really relevant to the conversation. You might have even heard. Most of you probably have heard it. Like it's not nothing crazy. I've definitely heard it before, but it really hit me at this period in time with everything going on and where I am in life and things I've been thinking about in terms of what's going on in the world. And it says, I had to take a picture of it. I saw it in the classroom. I'm like, I need to take a picture of this. It says, stand up for what is right, even if you're standing alone. Stand up for what is right, even if you're standing alone. And it's like, when I was younger, it was easy to understand, or so I thought. Oh, just do what is right, even if it's the unpopular thing to do. And I would think of it like, oh, that's in the real world. That's in the grand scheme of things. That's in the public, you know, and the mass. The standing alone part was not emphasized enough to my understanding because it really boils down to less of a macro level. As a macro level, it's like, yeah, of course, you're gonna hold an opinion that offends some people, but on an individual level too, to really stand up on your principles and be true to yourself and the people around you, is there's going to be some friction. There is going to be the risk of being alone. Meaning the people close to you might not even might not even like where you're coming from. They might be put off by you standing up for what is right, literally. That's some million scenarios where that could happen. You could be somebody who is in a household where they have racist views. Like that's the most generic or basic, but it's a very real scenario that happens. You could be around somebody that hates any specific type of person, or like a criminal, a vengeful person, somebody who's dishonest, a con man, scammers, anybody. But when you standing up for what is right, when you say like no to the drugs or things like that, or even if you hold somebody to the standard that they set for themselves and you being real about it, you being honest, you standing for what is right, people won't rock with that. That's just how it go. Friends or family, anybody. Yeah, bro. I had to take a picture of that right there. It was profound for the time. Live up to your own standards. Be a consistent person. Stand on what you say. Because if you don't, it's gonna be a friend like me that's gonna call you out on it, and that's a real friend. Um, and that's what being real is about. It's about meaning what you say. Of course, you could change your thought process, change your opinion, all these things, but it's gotta make sense, you know. Explain how this changed. Don't just, oh, I just flipped, you know. Mm-mm. Or just you can just flip. That's up to you, but don't expect me to do the same. People don't know what it's like to be real anymore. For real, they don't. A lot of things that people say and do be performative, and not to say that I'm not inconsistent sometimes. That's fine. That's true. It could be true to an extent, but to a degree where it's on a daily basis and it's like you live in a lie, and then you're around people who allow you to do that, those not your people, man. Those not your people. I've been friends with people in all kinds of situations, people who were in abusive relationships, people who been addicted to drugs, people who just have toxic friends, all types of stuff. And I'm gonna call it like I see it. I don't know if that makes. I don't think that makes me judgmental. Because it's never out of spite, or there's never a sense of I'm better than this person. It's never that. It's never I'm superior. It's never like, oh, that's something that I would. That's something that I would do, but they're worse than me because of that. Or I'm an understanding. I'm a very patient, graceful person. I give people a lot of grace. It's just that I get triggered the most when I see somebody bullshit. And I call people out on their bullshit. And that's just how I'm wired. I don't know why. It was just maybe it's just how I grew up, how I was raised. I don't know, but I like it. It's not gonna change. It's not gonna change. So if you're watching this and you think, hey, maybe Christian will stop being so honest. No. The fuck? Yeah, right. But yeah, bro. That's today's video, the introspective series. Um, Let me know about a time that you guys had somebody who's being super inconsistent and you had to hold them accountable, hold a mirror to them. Or let me know about times that you maybe had to cut somebody off because they wasn't living to their values, to what they was spitting. They was a fake person, which at the end of the day, that's what that means. Uh, Thoughts, comments, stories, give me all of it. But all right, thank y'all for tapping in. You can find me again on IG at Kway Creates. Kway Creates. My photography page is Cameraman Chris. I'm gonna be doing more of these, trying to post weekly. So this should be back to back. But all right, peace out, y'all.